Okay guys, let's just jump right into this. So I'm going to cover a few charts. I'm going to show you, look, if we get above a key level where your next major resistance level is, and if we do get a blow off top and go much higher, I'm going to show you where I think the absolute top is, where you should get the hell out of Bitcoin. And if we do get topped out soon and we have a major drop, or let's say crash, I'm going to show you the next point to go long. And if we drop below that, I think the lowest point will go. Obviously, if that breaks, guys, then we have some serious issues with the stock market and Bitcoin as a whole. So we're going to cover all of that. Before I get into these charts, guys, as I've been saying, look, there's three exchanges I use and trust. I'm adding a fourth one to the mix. So look, if you're in a certain area where you have to do KYC, my first choice would be BitGet. The second would be BingX. If you're looking for a no KYC option, my first choice would be CoinCatch. Second would be BitUnix. I'll have all of those links pinned in the first comment and description. I suggest you have at least more than one exchange. This way you can put some of your funds on one, some of your funds on the other. Someone in Discord mentioned that Bybit just shut them out. They lost their funds. Guys, the reason I support and promote these exchanges is not to try to tease you with, oh, you can get these great incentives to sign up and you can save on fees and you can get, if you deposit a certain amount of money, you can get money back. While yes, you can. Remember, I use exchanges because I trust them. And again, I'm giving BitUnix a chance because I've been doing some research into them. So again, CoinCatch, BitUnix, no KYC. And of course, BitGet and BingX, you will have to do KYC depending on your location. But if you want to sign up, all four of those links are pinned in the first comment and in the description. If you want to get into leverage trading, guys, this is a tutorial video I put up teaching how to trade on BitGet. Remember, all these exchanges are pretty much the same. Once you learn how to trade on one, you can trade on them all. This shows you how to open a long, a short, set a stop loss, adjust your stop loss, trigger orders, all that. I'll link this video now if you want to check it out. So guys, let's cover a few things. So in the previous video, I covered this chart. This was actually this video right here. I'll put a link up to it now. I told you guys, I said, look, I told you to long down from 56,480. I said long every time you hit this blue ring, and we were key support. So you should have been long from that point. When I made this video, this was 6 days ago. So Bitcoin could get a blow off top soon. We're going to cover how high that blow off top could go. But in this video, I said your first point too short was this yellow macro trend line around 65,140, depending on when you make contact. Once you hold above that point, your next point to open a scalp short was this white line right here. So do watch that video, and again, I'll show you how this played out. So as you can see, we topped out right at this yellow macro trend line. We came down to support. We pushed up, tested this as support, and notice we got two perfect wicks right here at this line I mentioned in the previous video. As you can see right here, at this line that goes at this upward angle. And we can just see how this played out. This video was published on June 24th. Remember, I said to long the blue ring, you would short up here, and I said this is the area you want to long. We did drop below a bit, but I said, look, once you get back above this point, the blue ring would be support. This is your macro support, so once you got above this point to go long. But let me show you how this played out. This is a published chart. It cannot be changed or edited. You just hit play and you see how it played out. If you'll notice, and we did get some wicks below, but again, once we got it back above this point, this is a point too long or long when you made contact with this area. The last video I made, price was here. I said I was bullish as long as we are above this macro trend line. I said the point to short was here. And take note, this was literally to the damn dollar. Rejection, came back down to support, to the dollar, pushed back up, next daily candle opened, and we got rejected at this line. So you know where our key levels are. I'm going to give you your most macro, your most important key support and resistance levels to pay attention to. And of course, like I said, if we continue up, how high this could go, when to get the hell out, and if we drop, what levels are the most key support levels that need to hold would be points too long. However, if we get below those, it would be points too short. This was just covering the H1 chart. That last one I was showing you was a D1 chart. This is the very same video, the one I put up 6 days ago. And I was showing you, watch and see if we hold above this point. This would be a point too short. Once you hold above, that would become support. Notice I have this blue line marked off right here. A lot of resistance, a lot of support and resistance. So that'd be a point to short. When you hold above, you would go long. And you can see how this played out. You can see right here, this is that blue line. That was resistance, support, and resistance. We got rejected here at 65,098. Came back down to support, pushed back up as resistance, as support, and you can see we got a wick straight down. So that resistance level became support and we pushed up. So I will give you key levels, guys. Just want to go through all this so you understand how all this played out. In Discord, I keep everyone updated. Remember, if you want to get access to these live charts and our Discord, you can sign up. The link's pinned in the first comment description. It is opticalartcrypto.com. If you do sign up, make sure you email me through the website to get access to Discord. You can pay with USDT, but you will need to email me through the website to pay with USDT. So the last video I put up, this was on 7/15. The next post I made was 1 billion USDT minted. You know what that means, and obviously that means Bitcoin's going to go up. And remember in that last video I said I was bullish as long as we were above that orange line. If you notice, and like I said, this yellow line was your next point to watch. If we push up 65.1K area, our last major resistance level, as I mentioned in video, if we get above that level, it's only up from there. And then I was talking about this level here on the H1 chart. You can see we got our projection in the D1 chart. It's pretty damn close. And you can see we got this major drop that was almost to the tick. You can see we hit this point, dropped all the way down. We did push back up, but again, these are levels to scalp, to swing trade. Now, right here, we were pushing up above these key levels. Now, to me, I said I would much rather have had a daily open above 65,300. That would have been bullish. We got a daily open below. We got a daily open below this point, which made me think this could be a fake out. And if we go down, someone had made a post about the 01 chart, and that was another chart that actually nailed the top for that pump. And you can see, even though we did get a wick above, we got rejected and started coming down. So this is what I was talking about. This was your resistance. We got a little fake out above. We started coming back down. And then I let everybody know that it looked like, in my opinion, that we could be forming an inverted head and shoulders, which is a bullish pattern. So this is what I was expecting to play out. And as I mentioned in that previous video, so this was support and resistance. Go long at the ring. This is like a 25%. We pushed up 25% if you long the area I talked about. But so it was more than likely we'd get rejected here. We'd push back up. And then the next point to watch would be around 66,127. Obviously, this is a bullish pattern, so if you break above this point, we go higher. And you can see that's what happened. We got rejected. Daily above bullish, our rejection bearish. So this is the point to watch, 65,550. Notice we came down, just like I said, forming that inverse head and shoulders. And then I was talking about at resistance on H1, D1 not far off. So what I was saying was, this was your point to watch. We got rejected at this point. We're going to cover the H1 chart and the D1 chart. But D1 was not far off, and that was that point, that line right here. That was your point to short. When you made contact, we hit that line. We got rejected 2 times. So that inverse head and shoulders did play out. Which is H1 chart, we got rejected to the tick. It was covering your key support levels. D1 chart and center Bollinger Band. We're going to cover all of this, the weekly and the daily. Notice we got 2 nice rejections on the H1 chart. We're going to cover this. I covered the Dow in the previous video. We hit that to the dollar and it got rejected. And you can see how this played out. This was at 325 this morning. So I keep everybody updated in Discord. Let's go on, guys. So this is the same video. I was talking about the Dow Jones chart. I said we could get a little blow off top. I mentioned that we could push up to it's like 41,300. Where this line is right here was 41,380. I mentioned this red line right here and this red line right here. We could get that point and get rejected. And if you will take note, this is that published chart published on July 16th. If I hit play, take note, we hit that point and got rejected pretty much to the dollar. So it is very possible we're coming back down to test support. We could just kind of bounce along, but I think it's very possible we could have topped out here and we have a lot of downside for at least the indices. And you can see right here where we got rejected. That was right at, so big ass price label there. Let me make this a little smaller. So you can see we got rejected on the Dow right at 41,400. I did cover the Dow in detail, so go back and watch that previous video. And we will cover some other charts as well. And remember the video I put out telling you guys to long. I said, look, this is a key support level, this red macro trend line. And once every time we hit this blue ring, we got to bounce, and we were at our lowest major support level. So as long as this held, this is the point too long. And look how high we pushed up. If you just waited until we pushed back above this key support level, so far that was about 20% move. If you caught it from the very bottom of this wick, that was about a 28% move. So again, you should have been long from here. Now we're above major support levels. We do have one key resistance level above to pay attention to, so that's what we're going to cover. I'm going to go back through these charts. We'll cover the weekly as well. So it does look bullish right now, but I'll make sure you have your levels to play. So let me go back and go through each one of these charts and give you your key levels and just show you what I see. So as you can see, we bounced off the blue ring. So as I said, 56,480 was the point to go long. The last video I put out, we were just above, right? We were just above this point. So as long as we're above this point, to stay bullish, to stay long. So your next point to short was right here at this macro yellow trend line. So that'd be a point to short. And remember, like I said in Discord, I said it was likely we were forming an inverse head and shoulders. So it'd be something like this, like this. And then this is the point we broke above. We came back down and held support right at 65,818. And then notice we got rejected at, right here, the first time we made contact with it. And guys, if you use leverage, if you're leverage trading, that's what these charts are for, to know when to long, when to short. You could be holding your long from down below. If you're in profit 20%, guys, you should take your profit now and just wait, because we're right near the top. So either we're going to have some downside from this point, or if we break above and hold support above 68,500, well, we know we have a lot more upside. So don't get greedy, guys. If you've made a lot of profit, take your profit and wait and see what happens. I would be short from 68,500 down to at least, let me get rid of these little price. Let me put some price labels here. Hold on. Those are price notes. So again, your current major support right now to pay attention to, 65,860. As long as we're above this point and you long from below, stay in your long. But I would be short right now from 68,500, and keep in mind, guys, this is a very key level right here. I can pull this out. So that means your major resistance above is around 69,000. Look, if we get above that, our next level I think is like 70,000. But we have to get above 69K first. So it's possible we could come down to 65,860. Obviously, if that breaks, your next major support level is going to be down around 62,054. Take note that this is the center Bollinger Band on the daily, as you can see right here. So if we started coming down, that is where that central Bollinger Band would be at. That's confluence for a target. If we break 62,000, that is when I start flipping bearish, because we're coming back down to this macro support around 57,565. So again, in my opinion, and just listen to what I'm saying here, if we hold above 69K, that is going to get bullish. And I will give you those targets. As I said, I'll give you the highest point I think we will go. But 69K right now. So these are the points to be short from. 68,600, the stop above 69K, because that is a lot of resistance. But again, if you're long from below, stay long. If you want to wait for a point too long, I would not long right now. I'd wait till we came back down and tested 65,860. Or wait until see if we push up and hold above 69,000. Again, that is how I would play it. And a little advice, guys, I watch people in Discord. Your best bet when you're using leverage. Now, you don't want to change the leverage. You want to choose the leverage you want, whether you're doing 10x or 20x or 30x. I typically don't go over 30x, but I use lower margin. And the reason you use lower margin, because if price goes the wrong way, you lose less money. But if price goes the right way, remember, getting an entry is the hardest part. If you get a good entry and price starts going in the direction that you wanted it to, so if you longed and price started pushing up, well, if you use lower margin, if it goes the wrong way, you lose less money. If it starts going the correct way, well, you're in profit. And if price continues the direction you wanted it to, then you can add more margin, add to your trade, keeping the same leverage. That is a safer way to play. You enter, You hope it goes the right way. If it goes the wrong way, you lose less money if you use less margin. And if it goes the right way, you add margin to your trade so you're making more money, and then you set your stop and profit. That is how I play it. Not financial advice, but that is how I suggest you play it as well. So we know our key levels right now. And again, I will give you those macro top targets and bottom targets. I'm just going through these charts one by one. But again, remember, 69,000, that is your key level right now, and I'll give you a next level above that. But remember, if we drop 65,800 is a very key support level. You can see why. As soon as we had a daily open below this point, we dropped. You see we got rejected, and now we got that as support. So 65,860 is a critical support level. Remember, these are a slight angle, depends when you make contact. If 65,860 breaks, your next point to go long would be 62,000, all right? If that breaks or becomes resistance, then again, I flip bearish because we're headed down to our last critical support level. Depending when you make contact, that's around 57,500. This is, again, okay, so that was a published chart. Let's move on to this H1 chart. So these would be levels to play on the hourly. And as I mentioned in that video, again, this is a very key level. And if we hold above that, I would get bullish. As long as we're above this point, stay bullish. If we break below, then you have to change your outlook to potentially bearish. But as you can see, we did hold above this point. This became resistance right here. Rejected. We got a little fake out. That's why I make that post in Discord. We came down to support. And you can see we pushed back above it, and this became our support. So currently, your support on the hourly, your price level here. So your current support, now we are holding above this. This is just and what I do, guys, if you get access to my charts, basically all this is a line. I've already mapped out the direction of price. So you just create a line. Remember, you can save these charts as your own. These charts are shareable if you get access to them. So basically, you just create a line parallel to the fib channels I've already created and bring it down. And you can see that that's currently a support level. Notice that it was resistance right here, and it was also support right here. But this was your main support level because this is a fib channel. These are your most important lines. This is just a trend line right here. So this is a support level to pay attention to, obviously, 66,890. But your most critical support level right now is around 66,086. And if we push up, well, this is your current resistance right now. This is what you're paying attention to on the hourly. Watch around pretty much 68,000 is your current resistance. Just above that is going to be around 69,000. Remember what I said, 69,000, 69,200 is going to be a critical resistance level. If you load my charts up, just look left and you can see why these lines are so important. This is the next line above, and you can see this red line right here. This goes back a long ways, all right? But this is more of just, like I said, where I create a line based on the fib channel and I move it in a certain position because price matches it. But again, this is a fib channel line, and that's up around 70K, and there's a lot of confluence around 70K. And why? Well, let me go to this next chart here. I do have a lot of charts on here. I do apologize. So why is that so important? Well, okay, again, this is a video I said to go long. Go back and watch that video. I put a link up to it earlier, I think. If not, I'll have a link in the description. But as you can see, let me get my price label here. This is a key resistance level, and again, this is on a daily, so this is like 70,200, and you can see why that is so important. So before we can go higher, and again, I'll give you that blow off top target, and I'll show you these points as well. But again, now that we are above, like I said, now that we are above this point, get a price label. Now that we are above this point, and take note, this is actually previously was resistance, now it's support. So your support is around, let's just say 66,700, right? But your most critical support level now is around 65,800. A lot of confluence. So we know as long as we hold above 65,882, stay bullish. But we know we've got a lot of resistance currently right at 69K. And our resistance right here, and you can see how many times we hit this point and got rejected. This was resistance, 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 resistance. We broke this key support level, which again, I think that line will end up being our resistance for a blow off top. So we moved down this ring. The video I made, I said to go long. And that said, once we get above this point, stay long. Only scalp shorts. We got a rejection. We got a rejection on the D1 chart, which I mentioned. So if we come back down, 65,800 is your current support. And if we push up, well, you know, this is the point you would go short. If we get above that and hold support above 70,200, we're breaking above or out of a major, whatever this is. You can call it a descending channel, or you can call it some kind of pennant formation. Either way, this is our key resistance to pay attention to. So again, if we get above 70,200, right, in my opinion, if we get above that point, now let me zoom out and show you why this is so important. So again, every time we hit this white line, this resistance, we got rejected. But take note, this was support, right? Down here, this was 26,769. It was support. We came down, we had a little fake out below. Take note, we found support right here. But this red line has held support going all the way back to, what, October 2023. We got a little fake out here, right? We dropped below, but basically this was support. It was support. And take note, when we dropped, when we broke this red macro trend line going back to October, was when we made contact with this blue ring. So the blue ring was an indicator a move was coming. So we broke this key support. So all I'm telling you guys, if we do break above, all right, if we get above 70,000, I think it's the likelier play is to go ahead and take your profit on your longs now to play it safe. And if you want to open a long, wait until we get above 70,200, all right? Because if we hold above this point, we're breaking out of a larger pattern, and that means we're headed to at least, now we don't know when we're going to make contact, but I think that would be the blow off target. I see the other YouTubers talking about, you know, 150,000, 200,000. I think that is the most asinine. I just think it's ridiculous what these people are saying. We do know that this is our current resistance, all right? We don't know when we'll make contact with it, but I can give you an idea. If we shot up today, just straight up today, you're looking at what, 82,746, right? Let me hold on. For some reason, I didn't change colors. You're looking at 82,746. If it takes weeks and weeks and weeks, you know, if it's out here, you look at 92,626. If it takes even longer, you know, 98,000. But when we make contact with this line, that is the point you get the hell out. Because typically what happens, support, right? Support. It will push back up and test it as resistance. So when you make contact with this line, I think that would be the blow off top and you should get the hell out. On the flip side, if we start to drop, that's why I said maybe you might want to flip to being short, take your profit on your long, do not get greedy, price goes up, price goes down. If we get below 65,882, all right, your next most critical support is going to be around 62,000, depending on when you make contact. But if that happens, your next macro support level that needs to hold is around 57,556. I believe once we break below 62,000, that's when I flip bearish. And I think the odds are, even if we get a bounce at 57,556, push up to, let's say, 67,868, I think we will get rejected. More than likely, we'll break 57,556. And I do think your next major support level, if we get a major drop down from this pattern, is going to be down around 45,800 down to potentially 45,000. I do expect to catch a bounce, and I can zoom out and show you why these lines are so important. If you notice right here, these greenish blue lines what I'm talking about. Notice resistance, 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 flipped as support, right? Remember, previous resistance will flip as support. It will be support again later on. And you can see down here, it was support. So again, that's a double support. So we know if we drop 45,000 would be a great entry to go long, right? However, if for any reason, all right, if for any reason we break below and 45,000 becomes resistance, then we have a lot lower to go, and that would play along with this Dow chart. Watch that previous video. I explained why it's likely we get a blow off top. We got rejected right at this point, and as I mentioned, and again, I'm not going to cover this again. I already covered the previous video about these two cycles, the previous cycle and the current cycle, why I said it's likely we push up to this point and get rejected. And at any point we break back below this ring, I think the Dow is headed to some much lower targets, ultimately possibly down to here, and I explained why that would be catastrophic for Bitcoin. So just to recap, again, I gave you your targets. If you do get access to the charts, this is the D1 chart, D1 simple chart. This has that macro line. I do think if we push up, that would be the blow off top. Now I will tell you this, the weekly chart does look bullish. We got a weekly open above this line right here, this yellow macro trend line. Take note, this is a central Bollinger Band on the weekly. So as long as we hold above 65,753, potentially 66,282, at least on the weekly, that is bullish. Keep in mind, the top Bollinger Band on the weekly is setting up here around 72,900. We won't know where that will be weeks out. But it does look like, again, as long as we are holding, I've got so much drawn on this chart. Let me go back to this chart. So again, we got a rejection, right? We got a rejection right here, two times, right to the dollar, 68,351, 68,456. If we push up, you got resistance right at 69K. So to me, this would be a point too short. If you're long from below, it does not hurt to keep your long open. Again, I think being greedy is a bad thing because price could come down just as fast as it goes up. But I think if we get below 65,860, you probably want to take profit on your long and don't chance it. But again, that is your most critical support. As long as you're above that and you were long from below, hold it. If you think you've made enough money on your long from down here and you don't want to be greedy, again, I would be short from this point and I would wait and open a new long once we get above 69,100. But I think the safer play would be wait until we get above, again, this is your most critical resistance. Once we get above this point and we hold a support, well, this is breaking up from a major. I mean, this has been going on for, we topped out at what? This was 73,400 around that area. This has been going on now for what, 135 days, a little less. So we know if we break above 70,200, well, now you know to go long because you know we're going to get one hell of a move to the upside. And again, when we make contact with this point, this is when I would get the hell out because that's previous support flipped as resistance. Now, when we make contact depends on the price, but I am very confident that this would be the point to go long if we get a major drop around 45K. That being said, if that becomes resistance, well, I'll make other videos about lower targets because that is your next major support level if 57,700 breaks. But again, it looks bullish from this point, but I just want to make sure you have your key levels to pay attention to so you can decide how to play this. Let me go back, make sure I gave you all your levels. So again, these are just your major support and resistance levels on the H1 chart. And remember, this is a very key level here. This is around 64,400. And again, this is on the hourly, guys. Depending when you make contact, depends on the price. But I just want to make sure you have these key levels to pay attention to. Your first level to pay attention to, rejection, right here, 67,500. Rejection, 67,671. We get a little fake out. D1 caught that top. So our current resistance to pay attention to is 67,939. We get above that and hold support. Well, we got a lot of resistance up around 70K. We know once we break above 70K and that becomes support, then like I said, that means we're off to test this area up here. And again, just to give you an idea, we have no idea how long it will take, but I'm pretty confident once we get above 70K, again, we're looking at potentially testing this target, and I do think this would be our blow off top, and then it's down from there. But if we break 57K, we're headed down to 45K. If 45K breaks, well, I'll make a new video with some downside targets, and we'll cover that also. I think that covers that, but remember, guys, I am adding BitUnix to the mix. Remember, CoinCash is my first choice, no KYC. BitUnix would be my second choice. Do not keep all your eggs in one basket, guys, just to play it safe. If you are in certain areas where your KYC is okay, BitGet would be my first choice and BingX would be my second. But all those links, if you want to sign up, are pinned in the first comment description. And remember, you can sign up to get access to these live charts in Discord. All you have to do is just email me through the contact page. When you sign up, I'll send you a link to join Discord. And I do have tutorials teaching my charting methods so you can learn how to create these charts for yourself, like this D1 chart, for example. But guys, that's pretty much it. Let me check this one resistance level up top, just a little confluence to see what this level is. So your next point, if we push up, and again, this is for scalping. If you watched our previous video, I said if we push up, this would be a point to scalp a short. that played out well, came all the way down to 65,600. So again, let's say that we do break above 70K and we push up. Well, your next point to scalp a short, you can see why this has been a very key fib channel line going way back. Well, you would scalp a short at 67K, and then we would have targets where you would long from that point. Just showing you how to play these charts. I know there's a lot on this chart, so I want to explain how I play these charts and how I keep everybody updated in Discord. And the main thing to pay attention to, guys, is I know a lot of you think that Bitcoin is just going to go on its merry way regardless of what the indices do, but do pay attention to the indices, all right? If you start seeing the Dow, all right, I've mapped out the Dow, and I know people say, well, maybe Bitcoin follows the NASDAQ or the S&P better than the Dow, but remember, the indices typically move together. So if you start seeing the Dow, all right, break below 38,785, and that becomes resistance, then we're headed down to those targets that I was talking about in our previous video. And again, it will be catastrophic for Bitcoin. When we had our COVID crash and the Dow dropped a total of 38%, Bitcoin dropped 65%. So a drop from here down to here, again, that would be a lot of downside for Bitcoin. So remember, don't just pay attention to Bitcoin, pay attention to the indices, the DXY. All of this has an impact on the price of Bitcoin. But again, guys, if you want to sign up for CoinCatch or BitUnix, my first two choices for KYC, no KYC, links to sign up are pinned in the first comment description, and also BingX and BitGet. They're also, again, not just exchanges that I use because there's incentives to use them, but because I trust them. And again, if you get access to these live charts, guys, if you want to sign up at the website, it's optarcrypto.com. Links pinned first comment description. That's it, guys. Trade safe, trade smart. I'm out.